What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today I ended up losing a little under $7,000 today taking a short setup that ended up failing, and I really like the setup, and I'll tell you guys a couple of reasons why. But again, not gonna waste any of you guys' time here. And yeah, so ended up only really losing $350 across my two funded, so 700 total, and then 100,200 on my eval accounts. So coming into the day, what was I looking at? I was looking at a primarily bullish bias because we have an unfilled 4-hour BPR above us. We had stacked lows here, and then we had just like a 4-hour that we had already really mitigated into. But if I could see like some type of manipulation onto these lows, that I would be looking to take longs. At the same time, we also had I think so, yeah, we had some trendline liquidity here. 1, 2, 3, 4 stacked highs, which isn't ideal if you're looking to take a short, which I did end up doing. But I really just, the key for today was seeing some type of manipulation, whether it be like, right, whether price comes to here and then we inverse, retrace and then take the setup to here, or it could be the opposite in where I wanted to see price come and take out these highs and then take shorts down to these lows because we just had so much liquidity. So the higher time frame at market open was bullish because we were respecting these 1 hours for the most part because we hadn't already closed this gap, and because we hadn't already closed the gap, that was just telling me like, if we're going to retrace and we're going to respect these gaps, or a higher time frame daily narrative is going to be bullish, I'm going to be looking for longs. If we're going to fail to take these if we're going to fail to respect these gaps here, like we had a 4-hour here, if we're going to fail to respect those, then I'm going to be looking to take shorts. So what happened at market open? I think we didn't really do much right at open. We came in and we take this first low, but just this first low, and put it in an SMT with ES. And that was something, okay? That was something because ES had already taken out both of these lows and had already taken out London low with the same thing. So that's again a bullish SMT because it's off of the lows, where you can see here, you could have seen that like this low had already been taken by this low here, but it had also already been taken by this low. So just a lot of things there. And that was like, okay, like cool. Like if we can see this and then get a inversion here to the upside, I'm looking to target maybe these stack highs, maybe the 4-hour unfilled BPR, which is resting above us, and then obviously all-time highs above us. So stayed patient, and then what I did was I saw that we were kind of, we inverse this 5-minute gap, but taking this long setup here wouldn't have been a good idea, just because I feel like we're way too overextended, and having a 140 point stop for a potential, like 1-to-1, it isn't the greatest, and I faded the setup for a far too amount of reasons. I wanted to see maybe a retracement back into this 5-minute and then take longs out of that. So came in here, put in a SMT right here off of this high, bearish SMT. So now I'm like, all right, now we're putting in bearish SMTs. At the same time, if we were to take a look at ES at the same time, we really just like, we're consolidating, I'm not gonna lie. Right at 9, sorry, right at, yeah, so right here, right, we weren't really doing anything, we weren't putting in many highs. You can see that this high right here, which was at 8:10 my time, we had already came in and taken this on NQ, but we had it on ES. So I was like, all right, that's something to look at, right? So on NQ, we come in and then we inverse, I believe, the 5-minute here. And the reason I didn't like this 5-minute inverse was because we had inversed this previous 5-minute. So we have a higher time frame bullish SMT. We inverse this 5-minute to the upside, and then we have a bearish SMT, but then we also inverse to the downside. And I was like, all right, I mean, it's about to be 9. It was also 9 a.m. So I was like, okay, we have red folder news, 10 a.m. EST. I want to see AMD potentially, coming in and taking out these lows, or chopping around, taking out these lows, and then going higher. That would have been best case scenario. But it's also important to look at the higher time frames. In the higher time frames here, we're telling us what is going on. We're inversing every gap to the downside with this Drake 1-hour candle. Look at the 4-hour. We're inversing this 4-hour gap here, this gap right here, to the downside. What? Okay, so now we're looking to take more shorts because the higher time frames now has switched from bullish to bearish because of the inversion, because of the strong close to the downside. So now I'm really targeting these lows. So now what I want to see is a clear AMD setup to the why it keeps doing this. Oh, sucks. A clear AMD setup where we we come in, potentially manipulate, come up higher, either take out these highs or not, and then fill orders and then go down. That would have been my dream, what I wanted to see. So, all right, we just let it play out. We just let the setup come to us. You see, in the 5 minutes, we don't really do anything. We come up, we make in this high and we inverse this 5 minute, or we don't inverse it, but we're in this 5 minute. We took out the 0.5 range, which was a sign, and I was like, all right, great, perfect. Here, I can make the screen for you guys. You can see, right, this green line here. We come in, we take it out with this blue candle. Now we had made it, I believe, like a 1 minute, and then I was like, all right, I mean, if we're gonna take this 1 minute, we should be able to inverse this 1 minute candle here on the first one or two candles. I would have taken a short from here off of this high, and then targeting again these lows down here. But that didn't end up happening. I think Trump said something. I don't know, bro. Someone gotta take Trump's tone for real, but he literally, I think this was definitely like something that he said. 40-point candle when all the other candles are like 15 to 30 points, and then we came in, make this high. Now we had taken out the 0.618, and I'm like, great, all right. Now we're looking to take a setup. So we're looking at the highest time frame inversion. So basically, what that means is the highest fair value gap. But as you see, this is a clear AMD model. You have this accumulation, but what are we really manipulating into? You could say that we're manipulating into this higher time frame key level of the 0.618, but I mean, it's in part of the internal range. So scaling out, you tap into another 0.618, which is also inside of the top bearish fair value gap. I don't know if I've really went over this concept, but again, if we have like two bearish fair value gaps, let's say this is one, and then this is the second. A lot of times price likes to either like do like a kind of fake out and then come to the first one and then fill in orders. So it is always important to wait for either, the 0.5, so 0.5, or wait for like a higher level up here. So that's how you use the higher time frames to see when price really wants to distribute. Okay, so great, we're looking for the highest time frame. Because we don't have a higher time frame inversion, meaning we don't have a big bullish fair value gap to inverse, I'm going to be waiting patiently to see either a change in state of delivery or a close above the or below the equilibrium, or some type of confluence to confirm my bias. All right, so we see that we drake up and then we make this 2 minute gap, and then we inverse this gap. Another reason why I like the setup again was because we then came in and take out the 0.705. This is also known as the OTE of the range. So we come in, and not to mention, when you look at this area on ES, which had been chopping around like crazy, when you look at this area here, which would have been this high here, you can see how many times we're rejecting off of this level. Like, right, we can see that like we came in once, twice, 3 times, and it's not even a fair value gap. Even like here, like we're just rejecting, we're coming into this area and we're rejecting off of it, we're selling off, and this just shows that like price doesn't really want to come up, it doesn't want to break this level. Also, we put in a 1 minute bearish SMT again, because off of this high, you can see that this high is here on ES, this high here, and this high here, and again we make a higher high, whereas on ES we make a lower high. Okay, so that's an SMT there. And then, not to mention, we break this trend line of 2 minute, just like trend line liquidity. You see how we break the structure with this 2 minute inverse fair value gap. So this was really everything that I really needed to see in order to take a short. Now, today, using some like weekly knowledge, I feel like this doesn't have much to do with trading, but it is just a Monday, and Mondays do usually deliver slow. So my intention on taking this trade was like, all right, cool, that's fine with me taking this trade. I can just hold it out, I can just hold it until it runs to my drawn liquidity. This would have been a good break-even spot here. And then ultimately, the setup actually was, see, came in, trade candle to the upside, trade candle to the downside, and then ended up stopping me out. But if you look at the 2 minute, like what do you see? We literally, strong closure below the 2 minute. The wick, this wick here was beautiful. I was actually thinking about adding a contract. I'm glad I didn't, but in hindsight, if we had another like strong closure to the downside. You see that we come in, we fill orders with this 2 minute protecting us, 2 minute BPR, and then we want to sell off, right? This is a beautiful A plus setup. And although you could argue that we have, right, these stack highs here, I don't think these highs were really the drawn liquidity because they are inside of a bigger picture range. So if we're going to take these highs, we're most likely going to come in and take the 4-hour BPR. We're most likely going to take all-time highs. But at the same time, like when everything is pointing you to be bearish, I don't really need to wait for manipulation of these highs to then take shorts because it really just market intuition. I've seen this happen before. I don't want to miss my setup. This is an A plus setup with everything that's presented itself. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take it. So I wasn't really against that, even though you could argue that it wasn't the best setup. Personally, I think I'm just gonna start really risking less on Mondays because if I am to look at my analytics, I believe I've lost 2 trades on a Monday, and I think I've got 1 win or 1 break even, so not the greatest. I just remember 2 weeks ago I lost on Monday, and then I ended up winning the whole rest of the week, so I was 4-1. But regardless, that just kind of gonna lead me to show that data really does help. So next Monday I might be risking less, or I might be just taking a like shorter RR trade. I guess I really didn't want this to run for 4.2 R. Even this would have been fine, but 100 points, it's a lot. So definitely something to take a note of, something to journal, something to write down, and then start fresh tomorrow. Again, if you guys do like this type of content, make sure to like, comment, and I'm also doing a free, live trading Discord. So I apologize, from today to Friday, so another 4 days in the live Discord every single day trading with you guys. So definitely make sure to come and join. DM me for the link. It's also in the bio. Free Discord, completely free to join. Let me know. And yeah, code mish on alpha right here. 10% off, I believe. Not bad if you want to get accounts. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's gonna wrap up this video. I know it was kind of a longer video, especially going over everything, but I just feel like it is kind of necessary because of today's weird price action and market conditions. So thank you guys for watching. Like I said, free live trading, free a lot of stuff. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions ever. I always respond to these comments. So yeah, like and subscribe, follow the Instagram, TikTok, Discord, and yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and peace out.